Hey guys, John Wood here with the Stock Market Series podcast, and I'm really excited today to talk to you about a concept that is kind of like uncovered, and it's something that's kind of made me realize that a lot of the things like I used to think were like totally wrong, and it all comes down to this one concept of doing more with less, and sort of some associations with that concept. So super cool stuff. I'm very excited to talk to you guys about it, and I will see you after the intro. So the big question is this: how do investors like us, who don't have a PhD in finance or millions to start investing, how do we grow our bank accounts to build real savings and retirements and yet still have the time to do what we really love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Awesome. All right, cool. So I was reading the 80-20 principle again, and it's just, oh my God, so much fun. And it's talking about this concept of more with less. And of course, everyone's heard this concept, right? You know, you want to have, that small 20% of things you do that creates 80% of the results. And I feel like you guys have been hammered to this to death, and you know it by now. But as they were talking more about this concept of doing more with less and focusing on, like, only spending your time on the little bit of the things that are going to have the most results. Like, first of all, understanding that concept is a total game changer, right? Like, it lets you relax so much and just eradicate stress in your life, because instead of focusing on doing everything and constantly, I remember I used to think that I had to constantly work, and I had to work 24 hours a day just to have any kind of level of success. And as I did that, I mean, it really is a harsh it's not very sustainable, and like I did it and it freaking got the results. But I realized afterwards that even while I was working every single hour of the day, I was only getting most of my productivity in a couple of hours. And when I realized that I could just focus on doing something for a couple of hours, I could actually get the same results as if I spent 12 hours doing it. It all just comes down to doing more with less by focusing on the high impact areas. So that's like the core, right? That's the foundation. But then I heard about this concept of more with more, and this is something I had never heard of before, and I never thought about it before. And a lot of you guys know, like I love running cross country, track. I mean, it's just so much fun. And so for me, like, if I want to get somewhere quickly, I'll like run, and it just works, right? And I had a podcast episode on this a little bit earlier, like this idea of like running to get places faster, so that when you get there, you can give all your energy and focus on the things you care about, you're passionate about. Definitely a good one to listen to. If you guys haven't heard some of the older episodes, go back, binge all the episodes. It's super cool stuff, and that's something I've really just been doing for a long time. And then I thought about this concept of more with more, and I was reading and I got this example. The example was how most people get more with their life. Most people get more by working more hours. Most people get more by putting in more effort, more energy. So if you want to get somewhere faster, most people, they will get a higher speed. They'll get more speed by giving in more effort, by running, by putting in more energy. And so you put in more and you get out more. And it's the same thing, with work. If you're working on an hourly wage, like you put in more and you get out more. You put in more hours, you're going to get out more money. And so that's how most people look at growth, right? It's a linear growth pattern. But the challenge and the difficulties with that is, if you want to amass surreal amounts of wealth and really crush it, you have to shift that thinking from linear to this idea of like U squared. Like it's U to the power of you, or U to the power of we. Because once you understand that like you can have exponential geometric growth, all of a sudden you get to have significantly greater results, again, by focusing not on more is more. Because if you focus on more is more, there's a cap, there's a limit, there's this ceiling of your potential output, and that ceiling is created by you, and it's created by the amount of time that you have. It's created by the amount of skills that you have. And unless you can focus on doing less and achieving more, you just aren't going to have exponential growth. Versus doing more with less, this is the totally different game. So instead of me thinking, how can I spend 15 hours a day editing my YouTube videos or course videos, stuff like that? How can I spend more time editing, more time to get more out? Instead, what I want to do is I want to think of who can I bring onto my team? Who can I hire? Who can I join forces with? And, say, hey, look, I'll pay you to edit my stuff. And as soon as you make that simple mindset shift, all of a sudden, I can get 15 hours of work done in a day by somebody else, and I spend maybe 20 minutes sending them the files. And so now I'm getting significantly more done on a consistent basis because this person's going full time, and I am putting in less effort. And so you get more done with less, not more done with more. I remember I used to try to do all my videos on my own, and I would literally sit at my desk all day editing courses, and it would take forever. And honestly, like, I'm not even that good at it. My people I hire are so much better than me at it. And the results that I created, they were results, right? And they were great results, but they came from me putting in more. And that's not how you want to grow. That's not how you want to develop. You want to, like, if you want to have that geometric growth, you have to focus exclusively on what you, like, this is what we're talking about so much more, right? This idea of focusing on your unique abilities. So for me, like, that's trading 9 to noon. Like, that's something in no world would I consider outsourcing that, because I freaking love it. But like, editing videos, like, I can have someone else do that. So you want to achieve more with less, not more with more. And one more really kind of powerful example, I think, of this concept. Recently, I took this course of speed reading from Howard Burke. He's like the world's fastest reader. Really, really, really powerful, impactful course. It's just insanely cool. And so I took this course on like how to do like really, really, really great speed reading. And now that I sort of understand the concept, really, it's pretty basic. There's kind of like 3 core things to speed reading, just as a flash. And I think like Tim talks about it before at work. It's, oh my God, so fun. Basically, like the keys. If I had to like give you guys a 2-second crash course, the first thing is you have to stop like reading in your head. If you think about audiobooks, like you can listen to an audiobook at 2 or 3 times the speed as you can at 2 or 3 times speed, right? Because your mind can perceive information and it can understand information faster than you can say it. And so there's this little voice inside most of our heads when we read a book where we're like reading the text in our mind. And so you have to turn that off and you have to simply sightsee. You have to just look at the text. And instead of thinking about how it sounds, just look. It's called sight reading. You have to look at the words, not listen to the words. Look. And then after you do that, you have to focus on like who, what, why, how, when. You want to focus on like the 5 W's, the key nouns and the key verbs in a sentence, and sort of ignore fluff, ignore things that don't matter. And so that's sort of the second thing. And then once you can focus on those key words, all you have to do is learn sort of how to read left to right, which most people know how to do, and then right to left. And that's sort of the change. And so as you go from left to right and right to left, you want to go, left to right one line, right to left another line. You want to go so you can read both directions. And the way you do that is by using your hand, right? So that's the third key, is you want to use your hand to help you read. So you use your hand to guide where you're reading on the text on the page. And you go left to right to right to left to right. And you have to read both ways. And the way you do that is by focusing on those key objects in the sentence, the nouns, the people, the actions, the who, the what, the why, the how. And then you focus and you ignore the other stuff and you can go through it much, much faster. And then the key after that to scale it is to just move your hand down the page faster. And so at the beginning, you might go left, right, and you back and forth with your hand from one line to one line to one line to the next line. And where I'm at right now and where you really want to be is you want to have one hand motion be an entire paragraph. And then you're looking at sort of the keywords in the paragraph and understanding the key concepts in the paragraph. Because in reality, with most books, you're going to get 80% of the value out of 20% of the content. And you already know a lot of things in books. And the thing that sucks is most people, they see something that they already know in a book. Like I was reading Lean Startup, right? And there's some stuff about GE. And for me, like, I already know a lot about GE just because I've done a ton of research in them and literally made so much money on their stock. They freaking doubled. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So much gain. I'm super excited. I'm going to get calls on them soon. Put some bigger positions in. I think they're going to hit like the 200 MA on the weekly. It's really, really, really good. They're super, super cool. And so for me, like, I knew a whole lot about GE, so I didn't have to read the 5 pages about GE's growth because I knew that they had already been like a very smart startup and they had to constantly look for innovation. And so you can go through that kind of a little bit faster. And usually, like, my goal is about 2 seconds, 3 seconds a page. And you just go left, you go back and forth with your hand, and you're speed reading through the paragraphs. Anyway, so I understood that concept, and I understood sort of at a deeper level how to get really, really good at speed reading. And then I'll take notes with my other hand while my other hand's doing it. Then you flip the page with your right hand, you're like scanning with your left hand. And so because of that, like, I'm pretty solid, I think, at speed reading. And so I realize now that it used to take me like, a week or 2, or maybe a couple of days, like 3 days, like days and days and days to read a book, and like giving it like 5 or 6 or 7 hours of my time every single day. And for me, if I wanted to read more books, I had to put in more time, and that's not what you want to do. You don't want more with more, you want more with less. And so now that I took, the 4 hours to go through this course, I understand really, really well now how to go through these books much, much faster. Because you can't like pay somebody to read for you. It usually doesn't work out too well. And so now, like, I've probably spent 45 minutes a day reading this book, Lean Startup. And for me, I'm like 50, 60, 70 pages in this book. And I don't know if I probably spent, 20 or 30 minutes, because I was sitting in front of with my family and stuff, and it's like New Year's now, which is like so exciting, and everyone's coming together. And just got back from Austria, so like just tons of ski. It was so much fun. But anyway, I'm putting in significantly less time, and I'm already like halfway through this book, and it's been less than half an hour, I'd say. And so now I can finish a whole book in like an hour or 45 minutes, and that used to take me like 3 days, right? So now I'm getting more done, more volume, more output, more notes, more education, more growth, more development, and I'm putting in a fraction of the time. And that's really sort of the movement that you want to make. You want to get more done with less, not more done with more, and especially not less done with less. I mean, you don't want to put in less effort and get less results. And you don't want to put in like the goal, like at the beginning, right? When you're starting out, you might have to put in more effort to get more results. Like I've read, almost 100 books so far, like personal books, like not like school crap. Like that stuff doesn't count because you're forced to read. I think that's stupid. I don't think you should force kids to read. But whatever, right? And so like for the first batch of it, like I had to do it the hard way. I had to go through and get more done with more. But once you understand the concepts and the secrets, people that have been there in front of you before you can get more done with less. And so I just hope you guys got a ton of value from it. That's why I wrote like 9 to noon, right? I wrote 9 to noon so that people wouldn't have to get more education to get more results. Like they could get like more results, but all they had to do was go through like a book and they would get the education. And so it's the same concept, right? That you want to leverage leverage anything, leverage people, leverage time, leverage course, leverage trainings, leverage assets, and leverage education, and so that you can get more done with less. If you look at software engineers that are making 6-7 figure stuff like that versus someone who's working at McDonald's, like what's the difference between the two? They're getting more done with sometimes less time, sometimes the same amount of time, but it's more, right? Because they have leverage. So really, really critical that instead of thinking about how you guys can get more with more, how can I mow more lawns? I got a buddy, he mows lawns, he invests money in the stock market, he's freaking awesome, I love him. But the shift that you want to make is not how can I get more done by having more, especially with time, because time's limited asset. Like if you're selling a product, if I'm selling books, like I can sell more books. Okay, sure, 100%. But like for something that like takes your time, like reading or working, any kind of work, it doesn't have to be editing, it doesn't have to be video stuff, it doesn't have to be mowing lawns, like anything where you're putting in time, like you want to get more done with less. And so the critical key is to take just a little bit of time to reflect on the state that you're in and understand like how can you get more done, not with more, but with less. And that's the key. That's the critical shift. It all comes down to getting more done with less. So thank you guys so much. We got a ton of value out of this podcast. Go apply it. Absolutely crush it. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks. Bye. Hey guys, John Wood here. I totally forgot. I wanted to give you guys a little special extra little bonus here at the end. I know we started this episode off talking about this idea of getting more with more by like running. And so I know I talked about this on an earlier episode, this idea of like using like these, little scooters, like the you rent the scooters, and then you can. And so that's just another example, a really, really powerful example, getting more done with less, because you're leveraging just a couple of, like $1 or $2, and you're leveraging, the ability to rent the scooter that you can use for a couple of minutes. And in 5 minutes, you can get to somewhere that would take you half an hour to walk. So that's another really, really great example of, obviously you could run there. And if you run there, like, yeah, you're going to get there faster, but you're giving him more energy. And so you want to minimize energy in any way possible. So that's another really great example where like you're getting there a lot faster on a scooter, but you're not actually giving any more effort, so you can get more done with less. And so again, just a really kind of a cool way of thinking that you can apply sort of to your growth and your development. So I hope you guys had a ton of value from it. So cool. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little extra bonus there, because that's one that's really a game changer. And I see people that like literally spend like an hour walking somewhere, and I'm like, dude, pay like $4 to get a scooter, or take a subway, or take a train. There are so many cities on this planet that just have absolutely phenomenal subway systems, and yet people will avoid them because they don't want to pay a $2 train thing. And I'm like, dude, that's insane, because like you can leverage that and you get there so much faster. So just another really kind of cool example of like getting more with less, because like running like is awesome. I freaking love it, but like it's a lot more effort, a lot more energy. And if I have a suit on, like I don't want to sweat up the suit, So yeah, definitely a solid example there where you can get more with less. So thank you so much. Bye. Want more stock market secrets? If so, you'll get your free copy of my best-selling book, 9 to Noon. You get your free copy plus $11,176 of unannounced bonuses it took me years to uncover completely for free at 9tonyounsecrets.com. Inside 9 to Noon, you'll find the top 38 secrets you can use to double your portfolio every 2 years and make upwards of 10% daily.